Hello and welcome everyone. Now it looks like we're actually working. We got our webcam going. So I want to welcome everybody to DevChatter. Sorry about that late start there. We had a minor technical difficulty. For some reason, some program in my system must have grabbed the web camera from Streamlabs OBS and was not letting me have my webcam on stream. Don't know what pulled it, because I always, before I start the stream, do a quick test, make sure webcam and everything's working on this screen before I start you guys up in the starting soon screen. So, don't know what caused that technical difficulty, but after a nice Windows restart, we are back where we want to be, and we are going to write some code today. So, definitely didn't want to miss this stream, as today is May 5th. As anyone in America knows, this is Cinco de Mayo, which is when, well, technically it's a Mexican holiday where there was, I believe it was a battle between, like, Mexico and France, something or other, that the Mexicans won, and they were not supposed to, because, you know, like, well, underdog battle, something like that. They end up winning. Pretty awesome. Here in the U.S., we celebrate it by eating Mexican food and drinking Mexican beer. I don't know. I don't get it. I wasn't around when that holiday became a thing here in the U.S., but it's an interesting one. But that's not what we're here to celebrate today. Today is marks 3 months that DevChatter has actually been around and streaming. So we started back February 5th, I believe, was our first stream. So we have been streaming for 3 months, and that is, well, pretty fantastic, actually. So, thank you, everybody, for being here and supporting the channel and making everything that we do here possible. So I want to thank all of you for actually, you know, showing up, viewing, chatting, everything else. Async awake, sorry, I will get the bot going right now. So we can have the bot going while we chat. Okay, so let me just make sure I let everybody know that we're back up so that no one is like, hey, where'd you go? All right, so as I was saying, we've been streaming for 3 months, which is pretty fantastic. It's hard to believe that both that it's been that long and that it's only been that long. So it's been very cool. And today I was thinking about doing something else, but I figure if we're doing our 3 month stuff, we either needed to start a new project or work on our main project. So since I didn't have a new project that I wanted to get started, because I don't want to pull us away from the other ones we're working on just yet, because we do have some stuff planned for those, I was thinking we would go back to working on our chatbot a little bit more. And I want to give you guys a brief little update before we start coding here as well. So I was at a conference yesterday. The conference is Stir Trek. It's in Columbus, Ohio, and it takes place in a movie theater. It's a pretty cool event. But the significant thing I wanted to tell you about that is that it gave me the chance to talk to more of the speakers at the event. I know most of the speakers at Stir Trek. And I talked to a few of them about some future streams that we might want to do. So, for example, I was thinking some things that we might want to look at that just could be fun, because I want to do some streams that are outside of all of our normal wheelhouse. So, as you guys probably know, I'm primarily a C# and .NET developer. I do a lot of JavaScript also, because really you can't be on the web without knowing JavaScript as well and having to deal with it on a regular basis. So obviously with a lot of web dev, that just comes with the territory. And so some of the people I talked to, for example, I talked to someone that does a lot of Alexa stuff. So I apologize if I just triggered someone's Amazon device. Didn't mean to there. I probably shouldn't even say that name because, you know, it triggers all those devices. However, I thought it would be interesting if we brought him on and see if we can find some interesting way of tying any one of our projects into one of those devices and do something cool with it. So I thought that would be fun, or at least he could show us some interesting things. So I figure, you know, while we're here, it would be nice to either dedicate 1 day a week or something like that of the stream to looking at cool new things that are outside of our normal set of code. So we can make sure that we're continually looking at what else is around there, not just focusing inwards on what we're all building together. Async Awake, to answer your question, what Stir Trek is about. Stir Trek is we'll call it a tech conference. So it's developers, IT, designers, things like that. AOD Designs, welcome. Thank you for the love. So what I was saying is it's an interesting event, and it brings a few different communities together. The weirdness of the name I'll explain. So Microsoft used to run a conference called Mix, and it was an event where they're like, let's bring more than just developers together. Let's bring developers, designers together to the same event, and do like a mix event where we've combined different technical disciplines. And so that's why it was called Mix. And so Stir Trek was a conference that was supposed to be like, we're going to do the same kind of thing as Mix. In fact, we're going to recycle some of the content from Mix. So they said, hey, another word for Mix is Stir. And they put it at a movie theater. And the first Stir Trek conference was on the day that that Star Trek did their reboot movie. So like when they rebooted the Star Trek series, it was the release date of that movie. It took place in a movie theater, and at the end of the conference, you stayed around in the theater and you watched the Star Trek movie. So that's why they called it Stir Trek. Now every year, the conference is scheduled for a big, movie blockbuster release date. So this year it was supposed to be on the release date of Avengers: Infinity War, but Infinity War released a week early, so that that messed with them a little bit. So anyway, that's Stir Trek. It's pretty fun. For anybody that knows, one of our mods in here, Crimson Green, he and I were actually both at the event, so we both actually attended every year, which is kind of funny. So I got to hang out with one of our mods when we were there. And if AOD Designs is still there, she would think that's kind of funny because she knows Crimson Green pretty well. Might be lurking, I'm not sure. Might have just stopped in to say hi at the beginning of the stream. Okay, so you guys are not here to listen to me talk about tech conferences, although I'm sure you probably don't mind that too much anyway, because most of you are probably interested in technology. What I want to get to first is let's go ahead and jump through our schedule. And I just want to tell you guys what it's looking like in the future. So today, May 5th, we're just doing, I said, our 3-month stream celebration. So we're going to write some kind of code together. Not too worried about what it is, as long as it's fun for our 3 months anniversary. Anniversary? Month-iversary? I don't know. I don't remember what that one's called. Luniversary? I don't know. So, a couple of things coming forward. Monday, so it's 2 days from now, we will have a pair programming stream. This is the makeup stream that we're going to do with James Chambers. So he is going to join us for his second appearance on DevChatter. And he will show up on May 7th. And for anybody that knows him reasonably well, I'll tell you that we're not going to do a lip sync battle. We're actually just going to write some C# together. And then on Thursday, we're going to have another pair programming stream as well. The following week, I am going to try to get us a Microsoft employee that works on Azure stuff. So I am hoping, now I don't actually have any inside information on this, but I am hoping that some kind of announcement happens at Build this coming week. So this week is Build at Microsoft. So that's a big conference where they're probably going to announce some things. I expect that they're either going to drop a new build of .NET 2.1, or they're going to actually announce when the actual release date is, something like that. We'll see what they actually give us at Build. Hopefully it's one of those. And the reason why is that we are going to add ASP.NET Core 2.1 to our project as soon as Microsoft gets us that build. So that is our goal there. And I just realized I don't have any background music on for you guys, so I'm going to turn it on. So ladies, gentlemen, please enjoy the musical stylings of relaxdaily.net that I'm not hearing because I forgot to do this. Do I hear it now? I don't hear it. Hang on. You guys hear it. Why don't I hear it? Well, that's lame. Man, I'm having all the technical difficulties today. Heard it there for a second coming out of my regular speakers. You probably got a double up on that mic there. There we go. Now it's playing. Alright, cool. So now I get to hear it and you guys get to hear it. So background music is going from relaxdaily.net, so you guys can actually find that music and listen to it yourself. Alright, so as I said, assuming that they get us a new release of 2.1, I am going to try and get us a last-minute guest who is a Microsoft employee and works with the Azure team. And what I want to set up once we get that is I would like to start switching it so that our bot is running as a web project, which gets us a couple of things. So first off, for anybody that knows, our bot is actually running as a console application, and the reason why is that we keep everything related to our bot in libraries, which makes it able to be moved to wherever we want because we're keeping the bot very simple and nicely decoupled and organized into good packages. So let's jump into the project, and I'll give a quick explanation for anybody that is new here. We're at our 3-month celebration, so we might as well give a little bit of background on that. So we have a set of projects in here. The first one is our console application. It is our main project that the bot is actually running in. And if we take a look at this project, I'm going to pull up this project file. You'll see that it is running just the standard a .NET Core App 2.0, so that means .NET Core 2.0. And the output it generates is an exe, which I'll tell you, in Visual Studio it doesn't, but if you publish it, it will actually create you can actually make it create an executable file. It just doesn't normally. And this is our main project for the program, and this is what is that's the one we're actually executing. Everything else is a class library that is getting referenced. The next one is our core project, and I'm going to pull this up so you guys can see it. One of the things I love about .NET Core, if you're new to it, is just how simple these project files are. So if you haven't seen this, I love that they got it to the point where you'll notice all that's in here is it tells you what framework we're using. So we're using Net Standard 2.0, so that means that you can use this in a .NET Core app, or you can use it with full framework. Either one is fine. So that's what's nice about it. And then all it includes here, this is just my NuGet package references of AutoFac and Notatime. Those are the only package dependencies that we've got that are outside of .NET Core itself. So it's very, very cool. And then if we open up the next one, the Entity Framework project, so this is the one that actually does our data access. It's the only part of our code that actually has a reference to Entity Framework. You'll notice that if I open this up, oh, actually, this one's forced to have it because it's actually using it. But no code in here is actually using Entity Framework. So it gets the dependency. And actually, I might be able to remove it from that one now that I think about it. We'll find out. That'd be a nice cleanup. So the other thing that we've got in here... Oh, that's interesting. I need to adjust that. But anyway... there's a little bit of cleanup we need to do, apparently. So this one's also running Net Standard, so this is just a class library we're referencing. And again, even though this one has some dependencies, it's still a very, very small file. And you'll notice even inside this structure, these are just our migration files, so this just is what keeps our database up to date, and then these are the only files that we use to access our data. Down here, this is the entirety of what we use to connect to Twitch, so very, very minimal for our connection to Twitch. So I like that a lot. And then we've got folders full of unit tests and some fakes that we use when we didn't want to use mocks. And you'll see that we've got a whole bunch in there. And our core project is where the majority of our bot actually lives. And we keep it in there because the core project is for minimal dependencies. So a lot of things go in here because we want to get as much into core as we can. Just because, I mean, not as much as we can, but we want to get a lot in there. So that's the basic structure of our program. And then we've got an editor config so that people who contribute can have their editor tell them what our standards are. Not quite perfect yet, but it gives a little bit of assistance to new people jumping into the project. So, okay. That's probably enough intro. I don't want to sit here doing this for the whole stream, so let's go ahead, take a look at our project. We're going to open up our issues here, and once we get this up, we want to take a look at, not these ones, we want to take a look at just the ones that we marked as on stream to see if there's something that we want to tackle together that we're already working on. So this is the set that most people are going to avoid, and it'll just be us. So update to latest Twitch lib is one that's sitting. I need to tweak our OAuth tokens. I was hoping to get to that before we started the stream today, but I didn't get to it, and then we had a couple of technical difficulties, so I wasn't going to take the time at the beginning to get this. So we'll put this one on hold. I'm probably going to finish this. We did the majority of this already. I'm probably going to finish that off stream. So let's look at the other ones. Are there any bugs outstanding? Fix the hastily send, clean up dependency injection. Actually, this is fairly cleaned up. I will review that and see if there's any, I'll review that off stream, see if there's anything else we can get rid of there. Fix the hastily synchronized code. See, so that one is, I have a lot of code around our project that I synchronized because I didn't want to go through all the method calls and make everything an async method call and throw in all the awaits, because I knew that it was going to, like, you know, have to pass through all the layers of the code, and so I didn't want to get to that right away. So on the stream, I try not to, you know, get things that'll take me off too far on a tangent. Okay. So let's take a look at this. For anybody that doesn't know, the bot we're actually working on in here is in the chat room right now. So if you talk to it, you can give it commands with an exclamation point. And if you want to see what commands are available, there are a lot of ways you can call that. So you can call it with CMDS. You can call it by typing in the word commands. You can type in CMD. All of these are ways of doing that. That's using our aliasing. So that's kind of a cool little thing that we've got there. So we have a lot of ways of calling the same commands, and then from those commands we have all kinds of various things. I started up a game of rock, paper, scissors, for example, so anybody is welcome to do that. Do I have a bio yet? Yeah, there you go. There's a bio for me, so if anybody's wondering anything about me, that gives you a little bit. And we can also quote. Oh boy, I'm going to do something horrible, and I love it. I love it! That was probably a good moment. We probably did something really good then. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our schedule command. So for anybody that hasn't seen it, our schedule command works like this. So I type in schedule, and I pass in my offset from UTC. So let me toss the help text for schedule up here. So it says to see our schedule, just type in exclamation point schedule, and to see it in another time zone, pass your UTC offset. For example, schedule -4. So so schedule -4 is mine, right? Schedule -4. Because I'm in Eastern time in the United States, so during the summer we're Eastern Daylight Time, so that means that we are at UTC -4. So the thing we don't like about this is it requires that we know our own offset in order to make it work, which is kind of cool, because it does work, but it doesn't get us much more than that. We're starting a new game of rock, paper, scissors, apparently. What did you get assigned? You were randomly assigned scissors, so I will choose paper. Okay, now the way that this works, if we take a look at this, is we actually have the schedule stored in the database, and then it pulls the schedule out, and it marks that as the stream times and builds a string from that, and that's what it prints out. what it chooses for the time zone so that whatever the date is, that is set. Ooh, that's a good point. It's set in the database as UTC, I believe, which I'm just realizing we may not want to do. Because I want it set for my time zone, and my time zone might change. So there might be a way around that. That'll get complicated. For now, we're going to leave it at UTC, and that means that when the streamer's schedule changes at daylight savings time, they'll need to update their schedule. But that's not the worst thing. I think that's how a lot of schedule stuff works. So, this will show us our schedule, and it prints it out nicely. That way, not everybody has to have my schedule in their bot. So, right now, if you do run the DevChatter bot, which actually I should mention, all of the code we do is out on GitHub. It is openly available to all of you. So if you want to work on it, contribute to it, use it, that is perfectly fine. Don't, sell it or anything like that. But we are open to people using it. I forget which license we are. We might be an MIT license. I don't remember. I just sort of picked one because I wanted to make sure that people knew that they could use it, so hence I put a license in there. Okay, so we print that out. We print out the time, and that works pretty nicely. So this is what we worked on Thursday. Let's take a look at our other commands for something else we can improve. So our schedule command has been improved, but some of our other commands could use some improvement as well. Trackers. Command usage tracker. Command usage tracker. Who wrote this one? Did I? Heard expired user command cooldowns. All right. Yeah. Let's take a look at our cooldowns. That's something we can work on together. Let's get tracking. Let's get tracking. We're gonna track this stuff, figure out what we got. So, cool. Enhance quote support. Add a counter to show how many commands. Add in achievements for chatter's viewers. Oh, actually, you know what? Add a counter to show how often a command is used. We're going to start checking this one out. This one sounds more fun. So let's go ahead and start here. So, let's think about what we want to model. So if we're gonna track this data, we want to put this in the database. So I think we want a table of command usage data. So let's go ahead and make a command usage table. Before we get started on this, I'm going to go ahead and get us into a branch, and we're going to call this command analytics. So this will give us data on commands. So here's what we're going to do. Let's open up data and model, and then inside of here we are going to add in a class. We're going to call this class for now. We'll call it a command usage. I think command usage is probably good enough. So we're going to make this a data entity. So that is what's going to make it so that it gets an ID and everything like that and works with all of our models. We don't really care about the ID for all of our objects, but I like the fact that we do have some kind of base class, which is nice when we are working with our generics, and that we can have some kind of restriction on them so we know a basic type that they all are. Okay, so here's what I want to do next. It doesn't really, and I will point out, it doesn't provide much more value than that, to be honest. So the first thing that we want to put in here, I believe it's command type, and the way we're going to confirm that is I'm going to open up, so full type name. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to record both the command word used and the full type name that was called. That way we would know which so we could also know not just which commands are the most used, but what command word people are using to call them. So for example, one of the commands we have for the bot is the commands command, for example, which we can use like that. But it might be more common that people type CMDS. Additionally, I realize as I say this that I should probably add another alias. So I am going to say another alias for commands is command list. So we're going to go ahead and make command list. And that'll be the same thing, because there are some bots that respond to command list, and so what I want to make happen is any command, any word someone tries to use to trigger our bot, because they want to see what the list of available commands are, I want it to work. So no matter which one you try, I want it to work. That's the best way you can write your code, is essentially make it so that people... I like the idea of falling into the pit of success. So even if people do the wrong thing, make sure they still succeed at what they were trying to do. So it's a nice approach for that. So we're going to record the command word, the full type name, and then I want to record who it was that used it, not just that, because we could also, if we grab the extra data, we can tell things like, this is so-and-so's favorite command. So in that command list, I could show them in order based on like the ones I use even. So, user display name. So we're going to put the user display name on here. What other information do we want to have on here? We could record the time. So we could do a prompt and date time offset. Date time used. Yeah, that's kind of what it is there. Doesn't have IG. Thanks, Twitchloff. Catra name. Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, that's great. Totally gonna deal with that. Wait, Suzuna, which word? What? Wait, did I use a word you don't like? I don't know what Suzuna's yelling at me about on that one. All right, so date time used. Did I use a word you don't like? All right, so we're gonna say the command word, full type name, user display name, date time used. We know the word they used, we know the command they called, we know the username. Do we want to store the arguments that they passed? I'm debating whether or not we want to store the arguments. Because we could... Oh, okay. Yeah, alright. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, people usually aren't a fan of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this one. So this will be our data model. In order to make this work, we got to do a couple of things, as I'm sure anybody who's a regular here knows, because they've probably seen me do a migration before. What we're going to do is we're going to add this to our app data context for Entity Framework. Now that it's added to app data context, we can, in theory, add a migration for it. So I am going to go do that now. Do we like this setup? Command word, full type name, user display name. I think that's probably good. And I'm going to leave off the arguments for now, so we won't record the arguments. We might eventually want to, but we'll see what we get without it. So here is the way that I set this up. You can do this from PowerShell window or open up your own terminal or whatever, but I like the fact that I'm already in a terminal that's already right here, and I don't even have to leave Visual Studio for it. And I apologize, guys, because I am blocking that with my head, so I'm going to do this so you guys can see it. Now it's above my head, so I want to say add migration. Now the migration, what I want to type in here is I want to say what we're doing. So we're going to say create, and we're going to say command usage we'll say command usages. So we're creating command usages. That's essentially, we want to call it what are we doing to modify our database, so that's where our name comes from. I use create when I'm either creating a new table or creating a new column, and I like to keep these changes as small as possible. So if I need to both add a column and do another thing, I like to do that as 2 migrations. And the reason is that then if I need to undo one, it's easier to like roll one back and be like, oh, we need to roll back the 2 migrations, and then I could delete that one and then, you know, move forward again, if that makes sense. So like I can make just the lone changes, and it's easy to spot what they are. Okay, so adding a migration, we're going to create command usages, and then the next piece that we want to put in here, in order to make this work, is we need to say project. Now the reason we have to say this is that our EF migration is not in this main project. We actually have it over here in the separate library. Now we do this because we want to keep our dependencies in good places, but what that means is that we need to tell Entity Framework where our data context is. So we're going to say -project, and then we're going to say devchatter.bot.infra. So that I'm just giving it this name right here. So I could actually copy. Whoop, yeah. I don't want to click that button. I want to click this button, and I can paste this in here, and now when I run this, it should add that migration for me. And once it makes those files, whoops, do I have multiple things called command usage? Yes, I do. What's the other one? What was my other one about? Oh, I know what it is. We did it for, yeah, we put it over here. This is for cooldown. So, I need to come up with a better name for this one then. So I'm going to leave this one as command usage. We're going to rename our other one then. So let's rename the new one. Unless you guys want to go the other way with that naming. Yes, catcher name. Yes, so that's part of the challenge. Naming is so hard. Yeah, exactly. So like, yes. So I love having view model and things like that, and I could put data model on this as well, but that gets kind of long. So let's say command analytics command analytics usage. There we go. Because that's what it is. We are using this for command analytics. So command analytics usages is what we're going to call that. Now let me go ahead and build before I do this time, because we're going to be smart and head that off. So now when I come down here, I need to slightly change that to be add command usage analytics. I did not hit enter yet, just so you guys can't see what I typed anyway, so wouldn't matter. That's what I typed there. Didn't. Oh, command usage entity. Ooh, Twitchloff. I like it. That might be a better way to do it. Yeah, I'm gonna say command usage entity. We're gonna do that. Okay, so those build errors are just that the bot is actually running. So what's cool about this project, for anybody that doesn't know, go ahead and type a command in chat. Go ahead and use it, because this is actually the bot that's running in Visual Studio, the one that you get to actually mess with. It's in there. That really is this one. So it's very cool that, you know, command usage entity. So there we go. Yeah, so see, that's actually the bot. Give me 1 second before you do that. Oh, that's funny. I wish I'd seen that issue. We should be tracking down that issue, which is something that we probably should do today. Whoops. Helps if you actually close the bot there, Brendan. Alright, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this bot up and running. So we're going to go with command usage entity. And did that rename the file? No, it didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and use this and say rename the file to match the type name. Then we're going to jump back over to data context. We are going to rename that. So we're going to say, and actually in the table, I'm just going to call it command usages because I don't need to actually have entities on that, despite the fact that I put it on the schedule entities. So, yeah, exactly. Hello, hello world. What were you expecting there, Twitchloff? What did we expect the hello command would do? Alright, so now we have command usages. Let's go ahead and run this now. Command, and we're going to say add command usage entities. Let's see what EF migrations creates for us. So we just want to confirm that what it gets us is going to be what we're looking for here. So that is going to automatically go and create the files for us. And it should find them in that project and set everything up for us. Whoops, didn't mean to click that one, meant to click on this one. Because I want to read through what this request was. The number of commands is going to be perhaps an add metrics that we've used. This can be used by bot admins to identify unused commands, and they could declutter the command list. Yes. Unable to copy that. Yes. Okay. So the reason we get those build errors is just that at the end of the build it tries to copy the files over into the bin directory, but it can't because those files are locked by the running bot. So that's what we're running into there. No need to worry about that one. That is perfectly fine. Okay. So let's go ahead and use this now. So I want to take a look at the migration that it created, and assuming that I like what it created, we're going to go ahead and run the bot, and it will run that migration. Wait, it didn't make it. Did it? Oh, did it fail to build? Build failed. Okay. So that's what happened. It didn't run the migration because the first step in creating the migration is attempting to do a build, and because the build failed, it couldn't do anything. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I just killed the bot right when you said that. Bot's coming back in, though. Retry it now. Sorry. As soon as the bot's up there. There you go. Now you can retry. Bot's back in there. So the pet command is fun. It actually lets you use the DevChatter command even if you're not a subscriber to the channel. So subscribers to our Twitch channel are able to use the DevChatter emote to celebrate our victories. I celebrate our victories by clicking this button. So, you know, gotta celebrate all your victories when you can, because you know, every once in a while they're not victories. Coated Beard, welcome, welcome, everybody. Okay, so that migration I think is going to work. That one, if we take a look at it, you'll see. Whoops, not that one. This one. All it did is create this new table. It created an ID column. It made it string. So not too bad. Primary key, and the undo is just a drop of a table. So nothing all that significant in there, but it is going to get us something nice. And what that is going to get us is the ability to record when a command is used. So let's go to our command handler, which is right here. And what we want to do is we want to now record a command usage in our database each time someone uses a command. Now this might end up being where our cooldowns actually come from. So we may adjust it so that we use these for the records of that. We'll find out once we actually write it. So the first thing we need to do is jump to where the commands happen. So our command received handler's right here, and we have this little safety here, which actually I should flip this. If sender is not that, we'll just do a convert if. There we go. Thank you. So let me commit that change first, and then I'll commit the other ones related to that piece. So if I go to the command handler, is that literally just that? Wow, that got confused. Is there now no longer a change? Okay, I just wanted to confirm that that was the only change made to the command handler before I committed it. Because this doesn't really show me what happened. So that got kind of ugly. I'm kind of surprised that that showed it that way. But really all that we did is we flipped it so that everything's no longer nested in this. And we just return if that wasn't a chat client object. So it's kind of just a safety at that point of we wanted to make sure that this was really a chat client. It should always be one. But if it ever came up that it wasn't, then that would be why. Okay. Whoa, so-and-so, slow down there. So let's commit that single file. So single file. Invert the is chat client. What would we call this? We'll call it a guard clause. Because this is kind of a guard against bad data kind of thing. So then the next thing is we want to. So this is adding command usage entity, and this is the command usage entity data model is what we put in here. So that's basically what that is. The next thing we need to look at is we're going to go ahead and access using the repository. So in order to get that, we need to make it so our command handler has the repository, which it doesn't right now. It has the command usage tracker. Now I have a feeling that that is going to be the piece that changes, but we will see. So, whoops, that was not what I wanted thing. Alright, so I'm going to say iRepository. We're going to call that repository. Now, whoops. No. Let's go ahead and introduce a private read-only iRepository field. And then what we want to do is use it to create a new entry every single time. So because we're always doing a write and never an update, that actually makes this table fairly safe. So, because all we have to do is add new records and save. So it makes it relatively okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we can do with this. So bot command, attempt to run command, and then record the usage. So this has a try catch around it, so if any command ever fails, we continue on and don't worry about it. So, actually, now that I think about it, I almost think we should boolean this thing so we can handle the fact that the command failed. But I won't worry about that just yet. So what we're going to do is, right at about the same time that we do the usage tracking, we are going to do a repository, and we are going to create a new command usage entity, and that is basically all we're going to do is just shove one of these things in every single time. Any slug talk here? No, Joe Bun, but I can talk about slugs if you like, because I do know the term. I've worked on multiple CMS systems before. I've actually written my own CMS, and I also worked at Telerik for a while. And at Telerik, I did work on their CMS Sitefinity, so I did a little bit of work on that, so I can talk to you about slugs if you like. But I have a feeling you're trying to avoid them. Alright, so for this, we need to do a couple of things. I know the command that they used, very likely, right? Where is the command that they use? Where's the command word? Command word. Bot command word. There it is. Okay. So we're going to say command word equals e.command word. Then we're going to say full type name equals bot command dot get type. Wait, was there a no? Okay, get type and then dot full. Wait, is it full name? I think it's full name. Full name, and then there is our full type name. And then we need to know who the user was, so we're going to say user display name equals e dot chat user.displayName. Okay, so now we actually have all that set up. Can we try catches suck for debugging? Yes, I agree. I think I just figured out my Saturday routine as long as the streaming times are regular. World Wake, I think you absolutely have, because we have an awesome stream here, so welcome everybody. I see some people streaming in here, so I am assuming that C# Fritz probably wrapped up for the day because Joe Bun is here. And he didn't automatically host me, which is kind of a bummer. We haven't had that auto host come in yet. So we'll see. It should be here soon. But yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying that. Interestingly, I had a little bit of a technical difficulty when we started the stream, and my webcam wasn't working. Now the reason I was really hoping my webcam was working is because I was going to do this. So I was going to have my hat on and be like, hey guys, look, I'm a geek. My name's C# Fritz. I wear hats. So I was going to do like my C# Fritz impression with this, and we could be all like, let's all wear hats. Welcome everybody. My name's C# Fritz. Welcome. And for anybody that doesn't know, that actually is also a Microsoft hat. See? Microsoft. Says geek. So. Now, Fritz is awesome. I like him a lot. He's a good guy. So hopefully you guys all enjoyed the stream today. So what we're doing today, for anybody that is showing up right now, we are doing some analytics tracking of our command data so that we can keep track of how frequently each command is used. So now this last one, the date time used, I don't even feel like I want to have that in there. I kind of want to set a default if you didn't set it, so let's go ahead and do this. So DateTimeOffset UTC Now. And yes, I'm always going to use UTC Now, and the reason why we want to do that is because you don't want to run into any weird issues, because if you use a datetime.now, especially for analytics data, you run into the weirdness of when daylight savings time changes. Most countries shift by an hour, and when that hour change happens, you're either going to have a duplicate hour or a missing hour, which is very strange in your analytics data, so you don't want to run into that, so make sure you use UTC Now when you're doing some kind of analytics work. And now I don't have to actually specify it here. Joe Bun, for better exception catching under debugging, I usually check off the root common language runtime exception under, then it will break when an exception is thrown, not only when uncaught. Yeah, that is a good trick. And are you still planning on doing something with Vue.js? Catcher name, yes, we are going to be doing something with Vue.js. I combined it on something simple last week with Poma, but far from comfortable. Yeah, so we're going to do more with that. So I have a... so we are going to continue the project that we were using Vue.js on, and we're going to need to do that before we bring Guy Royce on to do our machine learning piece, and we have a couple of other guests. So I'm probably going to bring on another guest to put that in here. Isn't it a bad idea to use display names because of name changes? WTF Blub, yes, it is. But let me show you the problem. I agree, it is totally a bad way to do things because of name changes, but we don't have a great way around it. Let's take a look at what is on. Is this one our chat user? Yes. Is that? Wait, is it? Chat user. Chat user. So this is our chat user. And these values get set by... 1 second. Find the usages of this inside of the Twitch library. Let me show you the problem. So I create this from here, but here's the problem. If we were to look at what else is on that object, I don't think we have much more to work with. Command chat message, and oh, we have a user ID. So I guess we can use that. We can toss the user ID on there also. So yeah, let's toss it in. Why not? So here's what we're gonna do. Is user ID a string? User ID equals that. I wonder if that's really going to get us the actual user ID. I didn't think it would give us that. That would be pretty cool. I would be thrilled. So we always want to use display name, but I am very happy to have the user ID on those objects, and we can start storing them with that, in fact, too. So I would be quite happy to put that on there. We should be able to do that. So, what else we got? Oh yeah, yes. Jobun's awesome. So we like Jobun here. Here, Jobun. Jobun. 25. And yes, SkyPilot05, welcome, thanks for following. So yeah, we'll toss that on there, why not? That sounds good. If that's made available to us, we will totally use that. So let's change out our, we're going to add that to our command usage. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to our command usage object, command usage entity, and we are going to put in the user ID instead of this. And before we do that, so we're going to make these changes before I run the migration, which means I don't want to run the bot, and I'll show you why. The bot database is not updated yet, so I can get away with something as long as I don't update it. I don't have to do any extra work. So I can come in here, and if we pull up the actual tables for the bot, you will see that, oh, whoops, nope, I did create it once. We have command usage entities there, so I ran it once, apparently. So I would need to roll back. Oh, awesome. Thanks, SkyPilot05. So let's put that one in there. Let's just add it, actually. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to add, so we're going to keep user display name, and we're going to add user ID. So we're going to keep both, which means we'll know what their username was at the time that they ran it. Won't really matter, but we're going to tie them both, so that which will be an interesting little piece to track there. So let's go to where this value was set, which is right here. And then we're going to say user ID equals e.chatUser.user ID. And then that'll work out nicely. Twitch left. Cursor on class object in code, then hit Alt F2 sometime faster to check something and go back to where you were in the code. Welcome everybody from the C# Fritz stream. Handful of the people that were in there are already here, like Jobun. So welcome everybody, Fritz and friends. You are all welcome here. For anybody that doesn't know C# Fritz, he's a pretty awesome developer. C# Fritz, that guy right there. So go ahead and give him a follow if you like, and you'll be able to watch more C# code there as well. So he and I both do a few streams every week. Okay, so you guys are talking about cursor on object class in code and then hit Alt F12. So you're saying that if I am on this and I hit Alt F12, it should do something. It doesn't do anything for me. Control minus. Oh. I mean, I can also hit the back button in my mouse. That does stuff too. So I'm assuming Control minus must be similar to that. Anyway, thank you for the suggestions, guys. Yeah. Okay, so we got that one in there. Let's go ahead and do one more migration here. So rather than changing the one we had, we're just going to add an additional one. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to commit first and then do the migration. I think, no, we'll put them together. And I'm not going to commit that code yet. So the command handler is going to wait, the one that actually uses it, but everything else we're actually going to use the user ID for. So let's add a migration, and in this one, we're not creating a new table. We're going to add user ID property. We're going to say add user ID column. Because we're adding more than one. Project DevChatter, okay. So we're adding the user ID column onto two tables here. We're adding one to the chat user table, and then we're also adding it to the command usage entities. We're adding into the command usages. So both tables are going to get this user ID property. We're probably going to use it somewhere else then too. So that is a nice improvement. I did not realize that included it, so that's pretty awesome. Oh, it's trying to run right now. Let's go ahead and stop the bot. We're going to exit it. And let's go ahead. So sorry if anybody was about to run something in the bot, but I just pulled it out. Did Alt F12 not work for you? Joba, no, it didn't seem to do anything. I was hitting Alt F12 and got nothing. One of these days I'm going to have to get something set up so you guys can see the keyboard shortcuts I'm hitting. New command handler, command user. Oh, yep. Test command handler needs a mock repository. So I added a new one of these on here, so we're going to have to put that. We changed the dependencies on here, so that's why we're having to add this. I don't know if the test still runs. So, and then .object. Which I'll run the test real fast, and we will see what happens, just so we can confirm that before we run this. Just make sure everything's running. And then while that goes and runs those, I'm going to hop over here, and I'm going to run the migration again. And I'm going to check on my tests. Oh, I meant to run this one. So there it is. All the tests are passing, so that's good. So there we go. Let's take a look. We added, so see, add user ID column. We added to the command usages table right here and to the chat users table, and the down migration, which is what it would do if we wanted to roll back this change. You'll see that it drops the column off those same tables. And it is nullable on both. Now it's important here that these be nullable because our existing table is not going to have the value yet. So that's why we don't have that there. Yeah, that could be. So part of the reason it might not work is that I turn off all of the peeking in Visual Studio because I don't like it. Because not a big fan of the peak thing where it brings up that. I don't like that feature. Where did you have that? Yeah, Joban, I think it's what I just said. If it is actually peak, I think I have peak turned off. So for example, if I go to this entity, you'll see that that's from our core project, and I click here and I hold Alt and I hit F12. It does nothing. So, not sure. Either way, that ought to add that migration. Let's go ahead and do that. And then I want to go back to the command command handler? Command handler, there we go. So that works out nicely. And then thanks, Joban. No, I think I have it turned. I think I have peak definition turned off, because you'll notice I never do a peak definition. It's because I don't like the way the peak works. It's a little weird. So that's why I don't do that one. Let's take a look at our changes over here. So I said I wasn't going to check in the command handler changes just yet, because they shouldn't be required. So we have default value for time used. We're adding user ID, so we're going to say adding user ID. That's a significant one. And then this would be recording a command usage on each. And the bot's currently turned off. I'm going to bring it back in as soon as we're done committing these. Record command. And you guys might be wondering, wait, you're committing without having tested your code yet? Are you crazy? Well, we're using Git, guys. So if I run into something, I can just undo these commits and redo it. They're all local commits, so I'm not worried about it. Record command usages. So we're going to go ahead and commit that. And then I'm going to hop over here, and I'm going to run this code now, and we're going to take a look at what it actually gets. Yeah, so I like the idea of peak, but the problem is, every time I peak, I'm always like, no, I don't want that in the way. I want to go to the real one. Why are you bringing this up? No, I wanted to go to the real one. So, like, I often want to get to the actual one. One of the nice things, So catch your name. Do you want to? What do you want me to call you? Cat? I can. If you guys want me to call you something specific, let me know, and I will try to use whatever name you like. And if I'm messing up your name, tell me, and I will fix it. Don't feel bad about that. Don't feel self-conscious if I mess up a name. Katrina. Okay. Oh, Katrina me. Oh, ha ha. I would say, yeah, Katrina. Got it. Yeah, there you go. So you are Katrina. So Katrina. So one of the cool things, which I think you're talking about, is which extensions and things like that. So extensions are a tough one. You basically just have to remember which extensions you like to have installed in Visual Studio. So that one's not too bad. You kind of just have, that one's a tough one. You might be able to export which ones you have, but one of the things I like is, so I'm logged in, so you'll see that I'm signed in. One of the things that bugged me forever, we were always asking Visual Studio, can you record my settings so that when I log into a computer, when I set up a new machine, that you bring my settings in? So it does do this now. So when I log into a computer, it gets all my settings, so like the fact that I've got a dark background, for example, that comes in, everything like that. It's really nice. So that's always good. Jobun, peeking to the second monitor would be nice. Ah, so you mean like I click something and it shows up on my other monitor. That could be useful. Probably not great for streaming. It doesn't help you guys too much, but yeah, it could be nice in a regular development scenario. Okay, so the code we've got now is this. I kind of want to see if we can put a method around this. Extract method. We're gonna go ahead and pull that, and that name's fine for now. I'm gonna make it better. I just wanted to see what it pulled out. So it pulls in the command it's using and the event args, and it's gonna create a command entity. So we're gonna rename this to create. Let's see. Make command entity. Command usage entity. Usage entity. So there it is. It's going to make it from these. What did it actually use off of E? The command word? And the chat user? I'm going to separate that, I think. Well, yeah. Alright, good enough. Good enough. Not gonna do much more with that. That's fine. So we get a couple of helpers down there. Extract the command usage. You know what I could alternately do is just give this thing a constructor. I'm just going to give it a constructor. Command usage entity's getting a constructor. But keep in mind that I have to give it 2 constructors. And for anybody that's wondering why I have to give it 2 constructors, it's because we're using Entity Framework, and the way that Entity Framework hydrates its objects, so hydrate, of course, means setting all the properties. So the way that it works is Entity Framework actually uses the empty constructor for the object and then sets the properties on it. And so that's actually how it hydrates it. So we always have to have an empty constructor for anything that Entity Framework's going to use. So Jobun, power tools. I use the power tools. I don't use the region expander. I don't know what that does, but I hate regions and I want to kill regions. So I probably won't run that one. I know a bunch of people use Roslinator, and I hear good things about it. As far as I know, it's basically like ReSharper Lite, but using Roslyn. So it's going to be a little bit faster than what ReSharper is, and I really wish ReSharper would go and start using Roslyn. Yeah, see, it expands regions. I figured that was probably what it did, Jobun, but I don't like regions. So regions are the devil. I kill regions. Like, I take them out back, and I give them a stern warning to stay out of my code base. That's what I do with regions, because, you know, I'm scary like that. Rawr. Okay, is there not a... Okay, so string, command, word, and then string, full type name, and then string, user ID. I wish it would have just given me all of these, and user display name. We all hate regions. We all hate regions. DateTimeOffset and DateTime used. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna separate these onto their own lines, and the way that I separated these, this is the command, this is the user, and then this is the date time. That's the time used, and this I'm actually going to set to the default value here. Instead of setting it down there. So we're gonna do that, and then oh, can I not do that? No, it must be a compile time constant, so I can't do it there. So we're going to put it down there, and we're actually going to remove it from the whole set. So goodbye, DateTimeOffset. Put that there, and then I am going to do set the command word, set the full type name, set the user ID, and set the user display name. So there we go. All those are set up. Now, when I jump back over here, instead of doing that, I am just going to call the constructor for this thing. So I'm just going to say new command usage entity, and I'm going to pass in e.commandWord, and I'm going to say bot command dot get type dot full name, and then e.chatUser.user ID, and then e.chatUser.displayName. And now, to make this slightly less bad, we're going to pull this into a variable. So the way I'm going to do that is just extracting it there. And then I don't feel too bad about that code. Okay, so type full name, command word, there we go. Alright, I don't feel too bad about that. Did I do anything crazy, everybody? Oh, actually, Suzuna's back. I need to talk to Suzuna for a second in a minute. Have you tried a ligature font? Twitchloff, I haven't messed with them. I hate regions as well. When I look at other people's code, they might have regions. Yeah, Joe Bun, that is true. A lot of people do write regions. I always find it funny when people are like, oh yeah, I do regions to like separate my code, and I'm like, how big's your code that you need regions for it? Sharkdeed. By the way, you can make an empty constructor protected if no one else is going to use it, but EF can still utilize protected constructors. Sharkdeed, that is a great suggestion. That is a very good suggestion. I am going to go change that right now. And M1BBB, welcome. Thank you for following. Hopefully you're enjoying DevChatter. Sharkdeed, thank you for the suggestion. I am going to toss you 25 bonus coins if I could type your name in there, because that is required in order for me to actually give you bonus coins. So now you have additional bonus coins. Congratulations. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So we created a constructor there. So yeah. So use constructor for command usage entity. Yeah, if I had a mod here, I would ask the mod to send you guys coins, but I might have a mod here and they're just not chiming in right now. Yeah, bonus tokens! Bonus tokens! Dev to hype! Woo! Celebrate! Yeah, bonus tokens! So, alright, const needs to be compiled. Yeah, Suzuna. That's why I couldn't get away with that. Weird, why is this not valid? Oh, yeah. So, Joban, what you're looking for is not const, you want read-only. So, you can do a read-only value, Joban, and that will actually get that for you. As an example, so C# read-only, actually, can you do a read-only int? So, yeah, so if you did one of these, you could get away with that. So it's not a const, but yeah. Similar. And interesting, you can do things like read-only structs and other stuff like that. And it sort of changes the way it handles it. It's not exactly a const, but you're not able to change it, so that kind of works. Hey, Async Awake is here. So cool. I will attempt the game. So for anybody that wants to play Hangman, there's a Hangman game going in the chat, and a couple of things. that I do want to note, everything we're working on here is over on GitHub, and if anyone wants to talk with us outside of chat, because we do actually talk about tech stuff over on our Discord, so you are welcome to join our Discord. That is a chat service that's commonly used by gamers, and you are all welcome to join that. So, welcome everybody. Hopefully you're all having a good time. So what did we do here? So we recorded that command usage. So as soon as that game of Hangman wraps up, I am going to restart our bot, and we're going to take a look at how this is working. I think it will work, but I want to see that first. Yeah, let's help with the Hangman game. Is there a T in there? Nope, no T. Oh, I know the word. I know the word. No, it's not the word. Dang it. That wasn't the word. Him. Oh, I know the word. Right? No, that's not the word. G blank blank P, plural? Is it? Oh, yeah, right. It's grapes. Isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, see? Apparently I did know the word. Thank you, Async Awake, for giving me the word. You know you could have just typed it in one, right? Since you apparently knew it. Oh, sorry! Obi Skywalker, I just turned the bot off. Sorry. Yeah, give me 1 sec. We're going to restart the bot, hopefully get our command usage tracking going, and this will be like actually just recording the data, so assuming this doesn't crash on startup, it'll be back in here and you can type that same command again. So, in fact, I'll just type it for you. Oh, whoops, that won't do anything. HM help. Wait, did the bot, what? 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 Crash. Alright, I didn't even look at that one, guys. Sorry. Not even gonna look at that one. We're just gonna restart the bot. And if it crashes again, we'll take a look at what it was. But I am worried that maybe it was that command. So the bot is in here. Because it's weirded out because it didn't say hello. HM help. There's no Hangman game run. Oh, whoops. Help. HM. Sorry, I did that backwards. Yeah, okay, there we go. So, command CMD. I'm just going to run a few commands here, everybody, just so that we can get some data in here, assuming it's working. So we did that command, we did the Fritz command, we did the Crimson command, Fritz, hello. So just running a whole bunch of commands here just to trigger it. Get the Joe Bun. All right, hang on. That startup fit. That. Hang on, Joe Bun. Hang on here. Hang on. Let me. Did you not? Were you not here when we did that? Look, the retry exception. So like we actually do have. That was a different one. For you here. So here's what we did. Let me show you how it works. So we have our code wrapped around in this. All right, here's what we're gonna do because Joe Bun's gonna complain if I don't. Let's toss that retry count up to like, well, hang on. I want the default to be 5, but let me go to where this gets called. So this gets called in here. So we're gonna do not trying get result, and then why is it not showing me that? Huh, IntelliSense isn't working there. Okay, anyway, so that should set the retry count to 10. So, all right. Wow, I just figured out a long-time issue I had with Nginx as a proxy for my internet requirements because it was always redirected to the HTML on the home page. Well, after turning PHP, that works fine. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Joe Bun. Well, hang on a second either way, because I want to look and see if we have our data getting recorded. So let's go ahead and refresh our tables here. We're going to take a look in our command usage data and see if anything made it in here. Hey, there it is. So a few of us have been using commands, and they're now getting recorded. So we're now getting, and it says which ones they are. There was commands, there was CMD. So apparently the different names we were using, it was getting all these recorded, so that is nice. So we're getting real data in there, so woohoo. We're going to be able to sum that up and actually see something from that, so that is very fun. Let's go ahead and get that saved. Before I do this one, let's go ahead and... this was already pushed out, so let's get a pull request going for this. So, as I've mentioned a handful of times, all the code we do here is out on GitHub, so if anybody does want to contribute, everything is out here. So if you do want to do, say, your first contribution to an open source project, you are welcome to do that with us, and we will help you through it. Arid tag. Should you track the chat client the command is used in? Ooh, Arid tag, you're right, we should. We should absolutely be tracking that. So let's go ahead and do that before we finish this. That is a very good point. And so what we're going to do is this. Is that data storing complaint with the new European General... Data storing complaint? What data storing complaint? Yeah, oh man, I tell you, regulations on data protection. I'm in favor of people's privacy, being protected, but at the same time, a lot of times regulations just really make it tough for the little guy. Oh, is it compliant? Yeah, you're probably right, and yeah, no. It isn't. There's no way this is compliant with that. And that's why I comment. It's like the little guy really gets screwed. There's so much stuff. Yeah. All right. So let's take a look. So well, I mean, in some ways, I have no idea who you are. There's no name, so I don't know. Thanks, Suzuna. Yeah, they're gonna keep bringing that up probably. Don't make Suzuna sick. It's not nice. He's got a weak stomach. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what we've got. So we want to add into our data model. So let's go ahead and add a column to our data model. So we're going to hop back over here into data model command usage entity. When we pull this up, the suggested entry that we toss on here is another property of type string. And this one is chat client used. This also needs to be initialized from the constructor. So now we've got initialized from the constructor on there. Don't want to do that in both constructors though. Good try, Resharper. Good try. So we put that in the main one, chat client used, which means now in the reference to this over here, it is missing a reference. So chat client get type full name. So I'm going to grab the type of that and store it. Actually, I don't think we're going to need the full name. I'm just going to use the name, and we're going to hope that we don't have multiples. So for now, that's the shortest way for me to get which one it is. And since this is just a string, if we find out we need to change the data later, we can add into one of our migrations just an adjustment to that data, and it should be able to fix it. Just a dark minute. Have I mentioned I love you guys? Everybody in the chat, very, very fun. Please don't kill each other either. So we're going to take the bot out back, and the reason I'm taking it out is that it needs to be able to compile in order to do another migration. So we're going to do another add. So this time we're not just adding the user ID column, we are adding chat client used column. So now when we look at this, yep, it adds chat client used and command usage again, a string, a nullable string, because we didn't have the data in the first set. Yeah, Suzuna, I know. That is actually, yeah, that is the problem I have with all this regulation stuff, is that they do little bits like that, and it's like that is absolute murder to some products. It's like, I'm really not doing anything with their data. No one cares about what the bot's doing. It's not like it's even posting it somewhere. Like, we're really doing nothing. Like, there's actually, so I think I could actually get away with it by saying something along the lines of, like, you know, putting it in the actual Twitch thing, you know, like when you load it up, like if Twitch might have to get something on that for us so that when you go to the site that happens. It'd be crazy though. Maximilium. Welcome, thanks for following. I love the name, it's a good one. So, and I apologize if I butchered it and didn't say it right, but if I said it wrong, let me know and I will say it better the next time. Okay, so now we have that change in here. Let's go ahead and run the bot again. So we just restarted it. We should now have this field. I think it's going to be recording it. We're going to take a look at the code over here. We're going to get a nice commit with that. I'm not going to commit that one. That is a separate issue, but everything else in there is related to recording what chat client was used. So the bot is back in here. So let's go ahead and run the Fritz command again, and the pet command, which the pet command comes with our DevChatter emote. DevChatter! Brutal N1, welcome, thanks for following. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. Hopefully everyone here is. DevChatter, no, DevChatter, because that was a DevChafail there, Arid Tag. I mean, do you know Barry Craylon at his day job and website with e-commerce? They have to say in their privacy policy that they store your address to mail you your purchase. That is amazing, Suzuna. That is, like, we're gonna store your address because we need to mail you the product that you bought from us. That is an impressive hilarity of one of those laws. So, like, I get it. I absolutely want to protect people's data. It really will suck to, you know, not have your data protected. Okay, there we go. So chat client is now getting recorded. It says Twitch chat client in there. So that looks pretty good. So I like it. Did I actually commit that? Not yet. So we're going to say add chat client used to command usage data. So we're going to go ahead and save that. So I like it. Good stuff, good stuff. Let's push that up there. We were about to do a pull request before Arid Tag suggested the thing that we forgot. So thank you very much, Arid Tag, for catching that one. Add chat client used. Let's go ahead and make this pull request. Adding command usage analytics. Analytics. We're going to say analytics data because we don't have like reports or anything like that yet, but we are storing the data, so we're going to start logging it. So that is actually pretty nice there. All right, so becomes an actual issue. We could maybe send each chat user who enters the chat a whispered disclaimer message telling the chat user that by joining the chat they agree to have their data being used here. Yeah, async awake. That's one of the things that. If you understand, it applies to any person identifying information. In this case, the user ID, username could potentially be considered personal information. Yeah, I don't know on that one. So, like, if we didn't record the display names and only had the user IDs, because I guess the problem is because there's a way to look up the display name from the ID. One way Twitch could get around that is by having a second ID that was a private ID, that there was no outside way of looking up whose data it was, so any other system could use it. But even then, since we're pulling it based on it's a tough one. I'm not gonna worry about it, guys. I'm two small potatoes. No one's gonna pay attention to this. This chatbot is fine as is. The thing is, I could do this async awake. I have the chat and whispered limits for that. My bot is verified, but still, that's just idiotic. Yeah. Oh, Suzuna, you have a verified bot. That's very cool. I don't think DevChatter bot is a verified bot, although I probably should get it to be one at some point. The IP can be personal as well. Need to comply with every server my machine talks to. Wow, Joe Bun. Yeah, exactly. That's some of the crazy part is what actually qualifies. So I'm going to leave this here. Is your online persona attributable to an actual human being in this case? I apologize, man. Yeah, is your online persona attributable to an actual human being in this case? You know, I'm actually not sure. Yeah, exactly. Like, we all get what they were going for with the privacy stuff. They want to make it so that you're protected, and I totally agree. It'd be way nice if, you know, you had to give permission at all times for your data to get used. So let's go ahead and get this data saved here. So I am actually going to merge this, I think. Someone's probably going to kill me, but I'm actually going to click the button, so don't kill me even though I... sorry, wait, I meant to do this. You guys didn't see anything. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. I definitely didn't click that button. We had someone review this data, and we reviewed it. We had a code review, full code review, and did all that. So now we're back. The code review's done, and it's merged in. Yeah, totally. That's what happened. Alright. So, now I am going to jump us back to the master branch, and I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup here. Get shell. Get shell. And you like that, Quiet Challenger? That was good, huh? Everybody believes me, because why would I lie about that? That'd just be crazy. Alright, so we're in here. We have this change, but branch. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, guys. Yeah, see? Yep, you saw nothing. You saw nothing. We're good. Yeah, what are you talking about? Like, Arid Tag reviewed it with me. You remember that, Arid Tag? We were reviewing that code together. So get branch. I have a lot of branches I want to clean up, so get branch. This is how you test it. Oops, I meant to do this. So get branch, and then the other PR, and what are these other ones? What are these? Get branch dash merged. And yes, so what's interesting is you can actually pipe these in, and you wouldn't have to do what I'm doing here. Get branch dash D penrec and change cooldown. Get branch to D penrec slash code improvements. Get branch penrec slash hangman words. Yep. And what else do we have in schedule? Command improvements. Whoops. Helps if you type menric slash command analytics. Yep. Get branch dash D menric. And we did not finish that one, but we did finish this one. So now if I check this, we should have, so we got default operations, which is something we're working on. We got caching, which we're going to complete as soon as we have ASP.NET in there. So we're going to pull in ASP.NET, and then we're suddenly going to use ASP.NET's caching layer as our caching layer for this. So that one's on hold until we've got that. I'm hoping it's next week, everyone. So as I said, build is next week. I don't have insider information, so I can say this. I am hopeful that we're either going to get a new drop of the .NET 2.1 preview, or we're going to actually get the .NET 2.1 drop, because it's supposed to happen sometime in Q2 of this year, which means that it's either April, May, or June. What month is it? It's May, so we're in the middle one, so we could get that. And the TwitchLib upgrade, I need to do that off stream. I'm like 90% certain I know what the issue is with TwitchLib when we were doing that upgrade, and we will get that one fixed. Okay, so now that we're back here, let's go ahead and get ourselves a new branch. We're going to check out. Yeah, I can type, everybody. I can type, I promise. Retry more. Get add that, get commit retry the chatters API more times. So we're gonna do that, and then notice that there's no like little triple equals thing on the end of this. There's no like 3 bars. There is no remote for this, so if I do a git push, you'll see that it won't do it. Now I could type in the setup stream, but I could also just click that button and then I didn't have to type that. So that's the reason why I like having that web UI, is because I could do that. Because now if I check the git status, you'll see this little difference here. It puts that little icon there. It's kind of small, so sorry about that, everybody. But you'll notice that there's a slight difference between those 2 lines. And that means that it knows about that. It knows that there's a remote on that. So that's basically telling me that there is a spot, there's an upstream that I can push to and pull from. And so that's all that little visual indicator gets me on here. So now, if I want to do another pull request, I can hop over here and say retry more. And yes, I am going to send in this simple little one. And this is a big change, guys, so I don't want to just merge this in. So I need someone to review this for me. So if one of you can take a moment and follow this link out to our GitHub and give me a hand with this, because I know this was a very significant change. So if someone could take a look at that, that would be very nice. I would appreciate that, because I just don't want to take the chance that that broke something. Sorry, let me go ahead and throw a Kappa emote into chat there, in case anybody didn't figure out that I was kidding. If that change broke something, then I really messed up. Okay, next things next. So we've made a little bit of a change there. You said you wanted to talk about the stream. Is an open source at the moment and only being assessed by maybe it was something. Yeah, exactly, Joe Bun. What could possibly go wrong? This might not. Thank you, Arid Tag. Yeah, see, look, we got a review. I don't know. This might not be enough times. And actually, I think you might be right. I'm not sure it's going to be enough times. Okay. How come the add command is not in the current master branch? Because they're async awake. It's there technically. It's just not there. So here, let me show you. CMD add let me add a new command. See, it's there. CMD remove, see? So, add command is there, but it's no longer a command. So, let me show you how that works async awake. And the way it works is this. So, here's what async awake was asking about. There is a commands command, but there's no add command. And the reason is because we moved the add command into an add command operation. So essentially the command, when you call command, it will then hand off the work to one of its operations if one matches. And so the operation it's handing off to here is the add command operation. And it's going in here. So that's how that works. So this is the one. So saying command and passing in the word add is what makes that happen. So alternately, we could add additional operand words here. So we could make it so command add, command new, command create all work, for example. And then we would put these in the operand words. And that's how we would make that work. So it's a little bit nicer than our previous approach and makes things a little bit easier. So hopefully everybody likes that. Caesar Gaming, welcome. Caesar Gaming sounds like gambling, so welcome. And feel free to play our rock, paper, scissors game if you feel lucky. Okay, so we got that change in there. Let's take a look again at our issue that we were working on. So we were going to look at, we're going to search for the word command. Add exceptions with show command. How often? Okay. Add a counter to show how often each command is used. Okay, so we're sort of doing this. So right now we kind of have this. Oh, Caesar Gaming, try following the channel, and you might have more, and then that will be a way to get the coins, but, whoops. Just in case, have 25 coins. Oh, there you go. So once you follow the bot, once the bot recognizes that you followed, it should be able to get that for you. Okay, so Quiet Challenger doesn't feel bad. Quiet Challenger also have 25 coins, because I'm nice. Twitchlove, would be cool to get some metrics on the code base so we can track it as we improve the code. Oh, Twitchlove, that's a good idea. So different things about, like, you know, methods, different size, just various things like that. That is definitely something we could look into. How many coins do I require to play that? Oh, that's crazy. Feels like, oh, Suzuna said something. Sorry, Suzuna, sorry, did I lose it somewhere? What'd you say? I think he just didn't see one bigger sentence above. One bigger sentence, Suzuna, what did you say? Before, is it open session me? Wait, oh, Suzuna, did I said that I wanted to chat with you? I might have. I was thinking, that, so you or, Swifty Spiffy or really anybody that works on TwitchLib, because, I was pretty sure that, so we ran into a problem when we were doing, yeah, so we were upgrading TwitchLib and ran into a problem. I'm pretty sure I know what the issue is, and I was gonna work with Swifty Spiffy, but since you were here, I was like, oh yeah, I might ask you about it too, since you were around and I know worked probably on that upgrade. Sorry, but I'm gonna restart the bot real quickly here. Because I want it running what we've got here. So every once in a while I just like to restart the bot, and the reason is that our bot is actually the one that is, it's the one that you're actually using in chat, is that one. And so I want to make sure that whatever code we're working on, whatever you're seeing inside of Visual Studio is what's running in that chat room, because that's a little bit nicer for you guys. So I like to make those changes. And yeah, as Quiet Challenger just tossed the Twitter command in there, you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Brendonius, or you can follow DevChatter on Twitter. Either one. I make sure that all the announcements about the stream go out to both of those. So if you follow either of those, you will get those announcements. And following the channel also is the best way to get a notification, because you'll get a Twitch notification on that one. So if you run a Twitch app on your phone or something like that, you'd get an actual notification. You can configure all those things, so whether you get an email or whatnot. Okay, so if you can tell me something about the problem, I might be able to help, but, oh, yeah. So, Suzuna, I'm like 90% certain that I just need to mess with my OAuth token, so it seems like maybe my OAuth token stopped working at some point, but it doesn't make sense because this bot still connects. So I'm thinking something about authentication changed and I'm not passing the right piece somewhere when in the upgraded version of TwitchLib, but we'll talk about it later. Because I get some kind of connection issue when it tries to connect to the API. So, let's go ahead and do this. So we have this pull request. I am just going to merge in this pull request because why the heck not? That is such a small change. I don't feel bad about that one. We literally incremented a number. And then I want to go back to the master branch and fetch, which is actually going to bring us onto the exact same code we were just on, so there's not really any change to the bot that you guys are running, so I'm not going to worry about that. Hey, Quiet Challenger, you think we're all awesome. We think you're awesome too. So thank you. And learn. Yeah, so that learn command, we're going to get some better stuff in there instead of just having one link, but we did want to set up the command so there was a learn command so we could point someone at resources where they could learn more about C#. So that's what's in there now. I might know what it could be, but yeah, we'll poke you later with that. Sounds good, Suzuna, thanks. And hopefully we can just make that work, because It would be nice to be on a newer version of TwitchLib. I'd be closer to what you guys are actually working with, which I'm sure you would appreciate as well, because then anything I run into is actually relevant to what you're currently doing. Because I'm still on my old version from when we started the bot. I haven't upgraded it once yet. Okay. So we did that. We added in the data. So now that we're getting data on the commands, we can start doing something with it. So if we take a look at the issue that was related to it, we wanted to see, was it used? Command list ordered by usage data, which I think probably says it's related to this one. Add a counter to show how often each command is used. And one suggestion was to use App Insights, which could be very good, and we might eventually switch to that, but this was the easy way to get us some initial data to start with. Oh, that could be Suzuna. I'd heard from Swifty Spiffy that there was a hotfix that went out, but I don't know that, so maybe it is. The bot we're running here in chat is a .NET Core app. I don't know if Suzuna's is also a .NET Core app, but it probably is. And WTF Blub, yeah, updating dependencies is often a pain in the neck. That's part of the reason why I like the fact that for code dependencies they don't automatically update, but it is one of those things that we as developers need to get to on a regular basis. It's just I knew that there were a lot of breaking changes in the TwitchLib update that was on its way, and so I didn't want to actually dive into that one on stream because, again, a bunch of breaking changes, so I didn't want to do it at first. I wanted to wait so we could do some more interesting stuff. Okay, so let's make a new command. So right now, we have a couple of commands. One of them is the top command, and when I run that, that goes ahead and it shows us, so if you check the chat over there, you'll see that it tells us who the users in chat are that have the most coins. What I want to do next is make another command. So I'm going to take a look at the commands command, and I'm actually thinking I want to make an operation for it. So we have add command, we have delete command, but I'm thinking we want to have top commands operation. We'll have it take in a repository. Does it need all commands? I don't think it does. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to say, come over here, public class this. It is a base command operation, and we're going to give it its own class here in a second. Top command, I just want to make sure that that piece compiles there. Let's give it a repository. So we're going to create a new constructor repository. There we go. And did base command operation, does it have a repository? It does not, and it doesn't even have a constructor, so that's fine. We're going to make one of those, and then we are going to put this first in its own file if it will let us. So move it to its own file. So now this is where the red squiggly is going to appear. We're going to have this implement the missing members, which are those. We're going to delete that. So this is where we want to put the actual code. We don't need a not implemented exception in here. Let's take a look at this. So htop, I don't know what htop. Thanks for explaining. The CMD add functionality is not working for me. Do I have to tell the bot somehow that I'm an admin when I'm running it locally? Or maybe I'm on the wrong branch? Async awake. If you are connected to your own channel, you should be considered the streamer of your channel, and thus you get by the permissions issue. The best way I would recommend checking that is I would run it in debug mode and toss a breakpoint inside of the add command operation right at the try to execute. So I would toss one right here, and I would check to see what your chat user's role is, to see if you have mod permissions or better in your chat room that you're using. So Quiet Challenger, a lot of the magic I do is available in Visual Studio without needing anything else, but I do additional magic always using some kind of extension. So right now we're running Resharper, which is the extension that does a lot of the magic for me, things like moving the type to another file, but many of those are actually available in Visual Studio also. You can also use Roslinator as another way of doing a lot of these types of things. So really the short answer is there are I don't believe there's ever a reason as a developer using Visual Studio to not be using some kind of extensions to help you do what you do. So as a developer, I think it is a responsible thing to be able to find tools that you like and that work well with your flow in order to be able to do things. I think it's very useful. So in here, I want to say help text. So this is call backslash quote. And this is command, and then what's the word in here? So this help text isn't going to be perfect right now. We're going to need to fix up a lot of how our operations work. They're not ideal just yet, so we're going to say exclamation point command top, and then backslash quote to see the most used commands. So what we're going to do in here is we want to report back what the most used commands are. So we're going to say, right now, we're going to do this in a horrible way, so I apologize for that, everyone. We're just going to list all the commands for now. Although, what is this? Do you have any plugins? I recently switched to F# and don't understand anything, so sorry, can't. F# is actually really neat, especially for a lot of the kinds of code that you're going to do. Functional languages are just really, really wonderful. So anybody in here that does use any functional languages, I hope you are a big fan of them because there's some really cool stuff you can do with them. Okay, so what we're going to need to do to actually make this analytics nice, right now, this is going to be pretty darn awful. But our data is so insignificant right now that I'm not too worried about it, but I will explain why this is going to be so terrible. So we're doing an individual entity for each one of these, and right now we're basically going to load them in memory to get this. So V1 of this feature is going to suck, and we're going to improve it later. So whatever you're programming, I recommend that you make something work and then make it good and then make it fast. So that is always my recommendation. So don't start off trying to build the really awesome thing. Start off trying to build a thing that works and then improve to that. So iterative development is absolutely the way I'd recommend everybody work. So I want to do a list, and I want to get a list of command usage entities. And what I'm going to do is this. So this would get us all the data. I don't want all the data. I want to group by the, so this is usage, and we're going to say usage dot, we are going to group by the full type name. So full type name is the actual command that we're using. So that's why we're going to group by full type name in order to get which one we actually want to work with. So this is going to get us a special object that is a group by object. So if this is confusing for anyone, don't worry, it's really not as bad as it sounds. So now what we want to do is we want to select from that usage data a couple of things. So we've grouped by this already. Now we want to do something else. We want to select, and this is a grouping, so I'm going to call it GRP for a group. And what I can do is so the key will get me the full name of the command, but I don't exactly want that. So, I mean, I do and I don't. What I want to do is get a couple of other things. So select the key. That would get us the well, what's the type of the key here? Let's say grp.count. So the most used entity. So let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to make a new object. So we're going to make a new object in here. I don't really want that. And this new object is going to have uses equals count. And the next thing that I want is command type. Let's say full name equals, and we're gonna say grp dot key. I think is the only way that we've got to get the full. So we can grab the full object, but I think we want to have that. Now what we're gonna do is this. So this gets us an IEnumerable of these little grouping objects that have a uses and a full name. But what I want to do is I want to turn this actually into strings. So what I'm going to do is this. So I want to say I don't want to select this object like this. This is sort of how I did it, but I'm not going to do this one really. Here's what we're going to do instead. Actually, let me check chat before I continue on. DevChatter, thanks, figured it out. I had tried to use CMD add, but since it was the vanilla bot, I didn't... Oh, it didn't know the CMD abbreviation. Yeah. You got to alias CMD. Yep. Yeah. Yes, async awake. So if you want to add the... So what async awake is talking about is if you try to run our commands, all of our commands are basically aliased with another way of running them. And that makes it really convenient for anybody that tries to use them. If you can't remember what the name is, what you write to write that command, we probably aliased the extra ones also. And async awake was suggesting that we make it so the bot sets those defaults up by default so that if a new person runs it, they get the same aliases that I have, which makes it a little convenient. So a little bit nicer that way. So I created this new anonymous type here, but I don't want to do that. We're going to do this instead. We're going to make this a list of strings, and by list I mean an enumerable of strings. And so we're going to say this. We're going to say type used so many times, right? So why don't I say grp.key. So that's the full type name. And then I want to say the number of times it was used. So we're going to say grp.count, and that'll tell us the number of times that entity got grouped into that one. And then the next thing that we want to do, throw a test in there. Yeah. Twitchloff, we're going to run this with a test. Don't worry. So this gets us an IEnumerable of string. So if I save this as a variable, an IEnumerable of string, and so then this is command usage use count strings. So we'll do that. Here, throw new not implemented exception. So we'll do this. We'll make Twitchloff happy, and we'll put the test in before we actually finish writing this code. So let's jump over to our unit tests, our core commands operations. We are going to add in some tests for the top. Oh, I typoed this, son of a. Top commands operation. There we go, fixed. So before we go any further, let's fix that name. Come down here and change new folder to be top commands operation tests. Now we're going to go ahead and create in here a try to execute. Should. Now what we're going to do is this. We're going to make this a fact, and then inside of that fact we are going to public void test1. And I'm going to give that a better name for a second. Don't run away just because I called it test1. And Alex 2, I don't know, trillion? I don't know, probably bigger. Risa, hi, welcome. Hopefully you're enjoying DevChatter. So we're going to fix that name in a second, but I am going to go ahead and I'm going to create this command that TwitchLoft was asking for here. So we're going to go ahead and include the namespace. We're going to set this up. We're going to pass it a new mock repository. And the reason we're going to pass a new mock repository is because we need to control what data this gets so that our test scenario can actually happen. We're going to go ahead and say, give it the object. I'm going to call the top command. Hey, test first, me happy. Yeah, thanks, TwitchLoft. I was going to write the test, I was just going to do the other part first. I admit, I was doing it out of order. So you're allowed to yell at me about that. And I'm going to fix that variable name as well. Also, try to execute is a terrible name for this. And what do I think? So we're going to use fluent assertions here. So we're going to say should be, and what is the value we're expecting? So I think a good first case is to test what happens when there's no data. So let's say we have no analytics data. Let's make sure that the bot doesn't blow up. So we're going to do this one first. Oh, and TwitchLoft, yeah, so you commented about the typo. I spotted it too. So thank you for the heads up. So we're going to say return special message given no analytics data yet. Which I'm not sure how that's going to be possible because you're going to run this command and, well, I guess the command runs and then we record its usage. So if this is literally the first command you run upon starting this bot, then it will have no analytics data, but we should handle that case. So let's get this in here. Should be, do we care exactly what it is? I'm not sure I care too much exactly what it is. So I guess the way that I can make this work is I'll just make this a const that is actually available. So I'm going to make it a const string that we can actually get to here, like const string better than string const. So we're going to say this is a const string, and we're going to call it no data message. Right? There's no analytics data yet. So we're going to take that, we're going to hop back over here, and we're going to say top commands operation dot, whoop, was that not, did I go to the wrong place? Wrong place, my bad. Didn't I? No, that was what? That's the right place. Public, static. Can I make it static read only string? There we go. There's the best we're gonna do. Oh, wait, no, it was on, I did the object before. No, so that should have been fine. Why didn't I like my const? What did I do? Public static. Public const string, no data message. Public, it's on that class. It actually wants me to do this, huh? Okay. That's fine, we'll do that. Alright, sorry. World Wake, my life... Yeah, thanks, Jovan. I got it. Sorry, stream delay. My life is taking all the wrong turns trying to understand how to work with .NET on Linux. World Wake, seriously, you're running VS Code? Because that's the answer. And yeah, TwitchLoft is right, but VS Code runs on Linux and should work for what you're trying to do. Let me go ahead and restart the bot real quickly, everybody. I'm restarting the bot because I want to make sure that this build succeeds here. So we at least get one. And once that bot restarts, we'll be in good shape there. So bot's back in here. Now let's go back into our code and run it. So we'll see what happens here. So the mock repository should be returning nothing. Oh, it's probably null refing because it returned back a null. Value cannot be null. Okay, so not a null ref, but still a null thing here. So what we need to do is this. We're going to extract this repository here. I don't want to call it mock. I want to call it mock repo. We're going to fix this. We're going to make this be the message result. So there we go. So now we have the message result. So now we need to do a couple of other things. And Quiet Challenger, you are translating PowerShell scripts over to... Oh, nice. Okay, so in theory, if I do this, if I say mock repo dot setup, so this is how we work with our mock. For anybody that isn't familiar with mocks, this is basically creating like a fake repository, like a non-existent repository object at runtime that we can sort of control and tell it what it does. So instead of talking to the database, we're just going to tell it what values it's going to return. When someone calls its list method, trying to get the command usage entity. So when someone calls this, we want to tell it that it's going to return a new list of command usage entity objects that's an empty collection. Why is this complaining? When I called that, what did I do? Yeah, we called that. Wait, what's going on? Wait, hang on. Playing this in the background while coding is literally the best thing. I will check out whatever that YouTube video is later. Add on FPS. Programming C# for 6+ years, but you have not run anything in Windows yet for production, except for the small WinForms and console applications. But most of it, yeah, coding on Windows makes things quite a bit easier if you're working with C#, but it's not the only way. Okay, so command usage entity. Okay, let's see if it catches that or not. I'm not sure if it's actually going to get my code or not. Okay, I don't like that you're calling a method with optional arguments without specifying. I think the error said... Oh, yeah, error tag. Yep. Yeah, sorry. So we threw a not implemented exception, which is what we expected. So because we have a not implemented exception is in our code right here. So we need to get rid of this and then it will work. Kind of. So what we're going to say is if command usage count strings dot any. Oh, actually, wait. Hang on. Let me put this back. There we go. I'm going to leave it there. If command usage count strings dot any. So if there are not any of those, so basically we got no data, there wasn't anything in there, then what we want to do is we want to return the no data message. So that is our initial thing of, oh, we didn't actually find anything, let's bail out. So there was no data, so we didn't really do anything, so let's go ahead, short circuit, we're going to bail. Now the next thing we want to test after we confirm that this one's working and is green, we're going to go ahead and add the one that actually does something. So let's add one where it's a single item. So we're going to do a test where we just add together a single item, and it should be in here. Return single entry given same command analytics data. So essentially our returned data, we're going to make it all be from the same thing. So new command usage entity. And I don't care what the user ID is. The only data that we're actually using in this test here is this one, which is the full type name. So I am going to save this as a string. So we're going to call it full type name. And then, because I want to use that in my test to verify that things worked correctly. And is that literally the only thing I'm using right now? It is. Okay. So, why does it not like that? Is inaccessible due to its protection level. Oh. That's funny. We made that protected because we're like, oh yeah, it's just there so that Entity Framework can use it. But you know what? It's useful in my test too, so we're going to do that. So, there we go. Should the null in mock command usage args be an it is any? No, Joe Bun. Actually, it shouldn't. And I'll show you why. Because when we actually call it, you'll see that I actually didn't pass anything in. So I did effectively pass a null to it. So that's why. So we really did pass null. We just didn't do it explicitly. So that is actually how we want it to be. RG, I don't know what RGR means, Joe Bun. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So we're creating a new list. That is the only one in there. So technically, I'm going to put multiples in here because I think that makes for a better test. Because I'm fairly certain it can handle the single case. Let's make sure it can handle the multi-case. So what we're expecting to have in here is the message should, and I want to say contain. And I want it to contain the full type name. So I don't care about anything else. I just want to make sure that that piece is in there. Roger. Got it. RGR. Roger. Got it. Okay, cool. Worldwake, Twitch off. I enjoy some of the stuff you can do with C#, but I'm way too efficient in Linux to ditch it. Yeah. Yeah, Worldwake. I used to be a Linux guy too, actually. Roger, Roger. Yeah, so the... I was actually before hilariously, so when I got my first MVP award, it was actually 2 years before I got it. I actually didn't even have Windows installed on my computer. I ran Gen 2 Linux. I'm one of those nerds. So that was like basically what was on all my computers. Okay, so let's go ahead and run these tests. We're going to see how they work. So this one should fail with a throw not implemented exception because we didn't implement this code yet. So not implemented exception, that's exactly what we wanted. Let's go ahead and implement it. So that's this code right here, so it got down here. And let's return back. Now what I want to do is this. I want to say return back a string, starts with a $, and we're going to say the most used commands are... So we're going to do that, and then we're going to put this in here, and I want to say string.join. Well, actually, I'm going to put in a variable here. We're going to say this is the command list command part. Alright, that's the command part, because I don't have a better word for it. Command part equals string.join. So we're going to do string.join on this. Our separator is going to be a comma space actually. And then we're going to say command use count strings. Dot, wait, do we need to dot that thing? No. Okay, so it's worried about multiple enumeration there because we did that. I am actually going to dot list this. Because there's not really any reason not to. going to be a list of strings. We're going to call it like that. So we to-listed it. We put it in there. I guess I could to-array and it doesn't really make a difference. Gen 2. If you're a real nerd, yeah, let's argue over Linux distributions. And then we can argue whether or not VI or Emacs is the better editor. JetBrains Router is also great for not dev on Linux. WTF Blub, yeah, you're probably right there. And 22 the restart the daemon. I made a production app with C# running on Mono and Arch Linux on a Raspberry Pi. That's kind of cool. Great to hear. Same as which but moving to .NET Core currently. So interestingly, back in like the early 2000s, like the 2006 time frame, I did know some people that were writing code on Mono, which in that time frame is actually a really cool thing for people to be writing C# back then. It shows, like, you know, that there are people that really do like the language. Because I knew people that did it back then even. Let's go ahead and rerun our tests. We're going to see if they pass now. And I want to take a look at what the actual value is that we got back. Ooh, an argument exception. That's cool. Cannot assert string containment against an empty string. Oh, yep, because I didn't put the name in here. So here's what I'm going to do. Gwid.newGwid. Got toString. That's right, guys. I put the name I'm looking for as a GWID. How's that for insane? Now, the reason why I did GWID is that'll get me a random string that I know won't match, so there's no way that, say, came from another test or anything like that. That came from that exact spot. That is that variable, and it's not going to match any other. And so that's why I do a gwid.newGwid as my way of getting myself a random string, because I'm using that as my identifier. Because you'll notice as I highlight this, so if I do this, for example, click here and I do is it Control-Shift F5? There it is. So that variable there, I use in a couple of places. I use it there, there. So it's basically how I made those command usage entities that I used. But then I'm also using it for verification down here. So I wanted to make sure that that was actually what we wanted. And yes, anybody who is here, I highly recommend that any new project you're creating, I would use .NET Core. If you've heard anything about it being a fad or whatever, that is totally wrong. .NET Core is amazing. So I only use full framework .NET when I absolutely need it. For everything else, I'm .NET Core all the way. That does mean when I'm making a library, my library is always pointed at .NET Standard. So what that means is by pointing at .NET Standard 2.0, I can run with the .NET Framework. I can use it in a .NET Framework project, and I can also use it in a .NET Core project. So it's really good. And WorldWake, didn't you hear the Emacs versus Vim debate was settled in Emacs 1? Oh, so Emacs is the better operating system? I hadn't realized. I suppose we can get into the tabs versus spaces war next then. All right, so these tests pass. I want to take a look at what the actual value is when we get multiples now. So let's go ahead and do this. Return multiple entries given multiple commands data. And that's possessive there, not plural. Well, maybe both. So what I want to do is I want to do two of these, so we're going to have full name 1 and full name 2. And then that's going to be full name 1 and full name 2, and I'm not going to even bother with doing the grouping on this because I'm only going to have one for each one. And then I want to say full name 1 and full name 2. They both need to be here. They're both going to be separate GWIDs. They're going to run. We have separate data, and we're going to run this test and make sure that it works. And then once we're sure this works, we're going to go ahead and bring this command in. So let's jump over to the command. So we're over here. This command, is it getting referenced somewhere relevant? It's getting referenced right here, which means this command should now be on the commands command. So I'm going to restart the bot, and we're going to give this a look-see here. So everybody ready for this to run? So even though I was making a WinForms application, yes. What do we got in here? Didn't you hear it? So netcore async awake. Come on, man. NetCore needs a GUI framework for... Yes, exactly. What Suzuna's pointing out is we need a GUI framework for NetCore which I'm also hoping they talk about at build. So basically, so Zazuna is talking about Xamarin, and the problem is that basically we need a lighter weight Xamarin equivalent. So we need probably whatever we get is going to be XAML based UI and using .NET Core. So I am really hopeful that at build this week we're going to hear about some new project that Microsoft's got that is going to be new GUI applications using .NET Core. I don't work at Microsoft, so I don't know that for certain, but I'm really hoping so. And yes, I have heard about that Boxy Baby, Avalonia, so that you just brought up there. Avalonia is so I've heard about that. I haven't dug into it yet. I want to. I don't think it's Microsoft official, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm hoping they have an official one. So I love non-official frameworks and tools and things like that we can use, but I also want Microsoft to be driving one, so we can get those multiple options. But I always want a primary one that's out of Microsoft. Okay. Oh, sorry, Kim Trangen. That it definitely would think is a link. C# related. None of my frameworks is my taste. That's why I do website UIs. Yes, exactly. Suzuna's right. That's part of the reason why a lot of us use. That's the reason why a lot of us use web for so many things, is that there's not a great solution for Windows Dev right now. So for client application development in Windows, which don't let the Microsoft guys hear me say that, but the Universal Windows application, whatever, like the UWP things, those really aren't, like, I'm not a big fan of those. As a user, I don't like running them. And since I don't like running them as a user, why would I be programming them as a developer? So I like the concept, but I don't think it was implemented well. So anyway, let's do command top, and we'll see if it breaks. Ah, nuts. Didn't get it. Why didn't it find it? Did I not call it top? Oh, dang it! Oh, son of a gun! I didn't put that in there. Oh, I had no Oh, man. Oh, did you guys see that? Oh, man. That was terrible. I just bombed that. Something fierce, man. That was horrible. Yeah, oh, man. Sorry, guys. That was I don't even know what I was doing there. I don't know what I was doing. That was terrible. Okay, so CMD top. Most used commands. There we go. Okay, so right now it's listing like all the commands. Now we don't want all these pieces. We want like the last section of this. So there's some work to be done here. Here's what we want to do. So if we take a look at the top command operations, the quick thing I can do to make this a little bit better is we're doing it based on full name, but I don't want to do that. I would like to do it on full name, but then do a quick split on the dot character. And then what I want to do is I want to take just the last one. So whatever the last one is, that's the piece we want. So we're just going to get that. We're going to split based on the dot, get the last one, which is going to change things. It's probably going to break the tests, but that's fine. We're going to fix it. Well, no, it won't break the test because there's no dots in that, is there? I might have to change off the little GUID thing I was doing just to make it a little nicer. CMD top. There we go. The top commands are the bonus command, the hangman command. Oh, we're not ordered by the group value yet. So we're going to say order by. And actually it's order by descending. So we're going to say group dot count. So we're going to order by count. We're going to put that count in there. So let's go ahead and stop it again. Yeah, Jobun. Yep. That's exactly what I'm doing. So these are things. I'm going to toss a test in there for that one. Don't you worry. CMD top. So, simple command, hangman command, commands command. Oh, that's interesting. Simple command, because they're all the same. So we're going to get what... So, when we pull this data, this is why it's important that we pull the word and not just that. So those are the top commands right now. So we could run the uptime command. Uptime command. So, and that is how that one would work. So, okay, so the next thing that we want to do is this. Group by that, and so now I want to say take 5. So we're also only going to take the top 5. Oh yeah, Jobun, we don't need a test. We've seen it working. What do you mean? We've seen it working. We don't need a test. What are you talking about? I saw it work. I just did. No, it worked just fine. Yeah, what do you mean? That's crazy. Why would we need a test on that? What do you mean? That's just adding top command operation in a branch. So we're going to call this branch Benric top command operation. Adding that. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yep. No, we don't need anything. We're done. Yeah, this totally works. Why would we need to test any further? Okay, so we're going to need to fix up these tests. They're getting a little bit ugly. I might not have time to do that on stream, so we might have to do the test cleanup off stream or ask someone else to jump on this one. Return, I'm going to say only top 5 commands. And I'm going to write the word 5. Top 5 commands given data for more than 5 commands. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Did I missed a curly brace right there, didn't I? There we go. Fixed. Okay, so now when I'm looking at this, I need to drag edit, little pump haircut. Oh, thanks. Yeah, you're an awesome dude. Alright, so return only top 5 commands. So here's what we're gonna do. The only name I actually care about is one of these, so I'm just gonna get rid of these values here because I only want to test that this one is not in the set. So I'm gonna say should not contain. And oh man, I apologize, I'm gonna butcher this name, but I'm gonna try it. Yabakdiza123, welcome, thanks for following, and I apologize for butchering that name. I will try better next time, and let me know if there's something that I can do to say it better. Hey, good check there, Arid Tag. The 100 coins did pass, so it should have gotten fixed. Yeah, it should have gotten fixed. Okay, so here's what we're going to do to make sure we actually get that many command usage entities to be able to have this data in here. So, gwid.newgwid, and then I want to have 2 of each of these. So, toString. Ooh, I would need to save the GWIDs for these then. It's an interesting problem. Okay, so I need better fake data support, so I need a better helper here to get me my command usage data. Welcome. Thanks for following. Oh. I'm failing horribly. I apologize for butchering your name. I will call you Huff, because that's easier, or maybe C? No, I don't have to use GWIDs. In fact, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to do this. I am going to make... So I'm pulling this as a method. Here's why I'm going to pull this. I'm going to extract a method, and I'm going to say get test entities. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to pass in a full, like, a set of type names that we need. And here's what we're going to do. We're just going to pass in the type names, and they're going to be in increasing amounts. So we're going to say this string array. So we're going to say a params string array, and this is going to be names. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to make a new collection here, then we're going to return the collection. But what I'm going to do is I want to make it so that we add inside of a loop. So we're going to do the names dot, yeah, length. Thank you for fixing that for me, ReSharper. You are so smart. We're going to say entities dot add. We're going to put that in there, and then we're going to say that. And then what I'm going to say is names I. So we're going to pass that one in there. And then what I'm actually going to do is this. Here's the part that people are going to find crazy. So I'm going to do start at 1, go up to less than the number, because what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to do... I'm going to rename that variable. So we're going to go up to I. This is how many times we're going to add this into the set. So we're going to rename from I to be items to add. Wait, item to add. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe we'll leave it as I and J. It'll be freaking confusing. But that ought to get us our fake data, I think. Let's find out. So we did full type name, and then I want to make... so we needed 5 of these, so 2... So we're going to say 3, 4, 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this will be 1, 1, 2, what? 2, 3, 4. I can type 4 and 5. 5. Full name, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So full type name should not be contained in that list. Return only the top 5 commands, and then that's going to get us our test data. I should be able to use that in the other ones as well. Do you have to use GUIDs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Select command users. New command users. Oh, actually, that's a Twitchloff. That's a cool way to do it. To get rid of the one loop. Yeah, Twitchloff. That's a cool way to do it. There's some neat ways to do that. Return only the system index is outside of the bounds of the array. Okay, all right. Because we use that as the index on this, which we didn't want to do. So yeah, it would have to be I-1. So alternately, instead of doing this, I'm going to change it to be this. We're going to flip that back to 0. Instead of doing an I-1 on the index, we're instead going to do I+1 for that loop instead, because I like that a little bit better. So let's go back in here. We're going to run this again, make sure it works, and then we'll clean it up. So Jobun, there are actually fake data packages in .NET too, not just in Node or anything like that. So we actually have a bunch of them also. I know some, so heck, James Chambers, who's the guest that's going to be here on Monday, I believe worked on one of those. Yes, exactly what Suzuna's saying. So our guest on Monday actually builds one of those, so he can probably yell at me for having done this. So we've got that. That's a little nicer. And then... yeah, so we're gonna get that one. Hang on a sec. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, so there's a bunch of ways that we could do that and make it a little bit nicer. Adding more tests. We're adding more tests to this. So that gets me, that's the order. So we excluded the lowest one, which was that one. Again, we used the GUID for it, which is fine. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do for the next test. There's one last thing I want to test, which is this. Should display only name of type. Display only name of type. There's no given here. Display only name of type is not really a given. Okay, so here's what we're going to do for our type. We're going to change this a little bit. So we are going to say foo here. So it's we're only going to have one entity because it simplifies the test a little bit. So we're going to have one command usage entity that gets returned. That's our entities that are returned. We're going to call it. We're going to execute it. And then we're going to say, we don't want to contain the, so foo is what we're looking for, and here's how we're going to get it. Instead of having this be full type name, we're going to have it be name. And then here, we're going to pass in bar.fizz.buzz.name. And we want to make sure it contains name. And then actually I'm going to chop this as the other part. So I'm going to say should not contain. And I'm going to pull out one of these words like say buzz. Namespace. Not included. What we're going to call it. So this is going to be string not included. Whoops, not included equals buzz. And actually, why has it got that as a var? That could be a string. So this is not included. So should contain that, should not contain that. There we go. Okay, what do we got here? These are only useful to UI designers having some real-looking data. Or at least I've never needed it. Yeah, so they've got those kinds of things. A class of 20 lines needs 100 lines of tests. Yeah, Joe Bun. So part of the challenge is we need to do a little bit of refactoring. We need to do some refactoring of our tests, actually, because our class is pretty well written. It's refactored nicely. We've got it fairly minimal in things. But sometimes you have to put a little extra code on tests, and part of the challenge we've got here, I should say, is that we're doing the same setup, and I have not extracted that. Not always, Joe Bun. So some of these things, some of the stuff that the time we spend building these code, we would otherwise spend like running and rerunning the application, looking at these changes, and doing a lot of that kind of testing manually. And this saves us from that. So the point is both TDD and paired programming often will slow down your total man hours of production that you get done, but what it can do is it can save you in the long run by reducing maintenance costs and things like that. So you reduce the amount of bugs and you tend to write more efficient code that way. And so there's a lot of other benefits to them as well. So, but again, you do have, so on the TDD side, we do need to make sure we're maintaining it pretty well also. Adding a test for name only instead of full name. We're going to put that in there. So we need to figure out what we can extract on this testing. So this is the code that actually does the test. Everything else is just setup, and this is the assertion. So our setup needs to be a little bit better. Oh, I'm not even going to guess on that one. But welcome, thanks for following. Hopefully you're enjoying DevChatter. That is, I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. I'm not going to take a guess. The feeling you get when a test catches a weird bug you would not have found otherwise is exactly Twitchloff. When your test you find that what you thought was the bug wasn't really there. So I really like regression testing, which is you know there's a bug out there and you write a test to find the bug. So it's a great way of confirming that what you think the bug is really is the bug. Yeah, so well, you can say that, Jobun, but I find that it tends to save me some things that I'm working on. So it depends. Okay, so let's see if we can't get this set up here extracted into a method. So I'm gonna do this and see what I can get in this. So we're not doing anything with the repository other than just setting the collection that we return. So let's try to extract this method and see what we can make of it. Scene, welcome. Thanks for following. I hope that's how you pronounce that. If it's not, tell me and I will pronounce it better next time. Oh, Foo. There we go. Okay, you can refactor faster also, no fear of breaking. Yeah, Twitchloff's correct about that one. It saves you some effort on refactoring. So I want to call this like, so this is going to be like setup test. This is going to be our test setup. No, don't fix that just because I called it foo. Alright, so setup test. I'm going to move this to the bottom of the code base here. So there's setup test that we're going to call right there. Now I want to extract a parameter from that. So we go to setup test. I want to make it so that this list that goes in here is a parameter. So we're going to make this a parameter. Command usage entities. And so now that is the initial like setup of the test, and it gets us our command operation and does that. So now in this one we just need to pass in the entities. So I can do this. I can now say do that, which means I need to get rid of this piece, which means I can get rid of this piece and just pass the entities in here. And I don't need to make that mock repo there either, because we're doing all that inside of the setup test. So now it's just this creation of these entities. So now I can come down here and I can do the same thing. I can put that there. I don't need to set up the repo anymore or create it. So that simplifies a little bit in that one. Again, I can come down here. I can get rid of the mock and I can get rid of that as well. Whoops, didn't mean to shrink that on you guys. Get rid of this one, and we can simplify some other things as well, but that gets rid of some of our code, and we can potentially get rid of even more also. Let's see, what are you guys saying here? I wrote a somewhat complicated algorithm last week which had a load of different cases, fixing it one at a time, and managed to break it after pretty much every change, but no sweat. Yeah, exactly. Makes things much nicer. It's not like we could not write code before tests were thinking. Yeah, Jobun, that's totally true. We can always write the code without the tests, and you can write tests after also. The advantage of writing the tests beforehand is, and this is really the key here, is it does a couple of things. It lets you test it as you're building it, but then it does one extra thing, which is that it makes it so that you can, you know that your code is testable. So a lot of times people write code that's not able to be tested, and then they have to refactor it to be able to test it. And so if you started off with a test, there was no option but to create testable code. And so that's one of the keys there. But yes, when we have to deal with dependencies and mocking, it gets weird, and so like starting off with thinking about what things we're going to be calling sometimes gets weird, and that's part of the reason why we do this simple approach with the repository, is it takes some of the thought out of there. It's like, well, we know we're going to call the repository for data, but what we try to avoid is adding in a dependency of like another interface that calls to a service or something like that, so we want to avoid those, because mocking too much stuff in your tests gets bad. Twitchloff, yeah, but I hate the write code then launch app to test loop. I would rather just write code and test. Yeah, Twitchloff, I agree, but one of the nice things about running the code here is that it's a bot that hops in the chat room and you guys can talk with it. So when I run the test, you guys can't interact with it. So you guys can't test my tests, but you guys can test if I put it in the chat room. So that does make it a little more fun. We're calling this clean up tests. So what did we go from? We didn't really reduce all the many lines, did we? But it's fine. It's cleaner. It's nicer. Each test is a little bit nicer. So let's go ahead and push this up. All right. So now we've got that. I am going to stop the bot and run it again so that you guys can see it and it actually works in there. I apologize, guys. I'm going to click a couple of buttons over here. Don't worry about me. And so now what I want to do is this. So the bot is in here. It's running. Let's go ahead and type in cmd top. And the commands command should be rising up because I'm using it so much. So we've run hangman, we've run rock, paper, scissors, so whoops, not TPS, RPS. So we're going to run RPS, and we're going to run bonus Twitchloff 10, and we're going to do this. Bonus Twitchloff 10, bonus Twitchloff 1. So congratulations, Twitchloff. Have some coins. CMD top. Did that change bonus command at all? So now it says 10. What did it do before? Bonus command was at 6. So we ran it a few more times and the bonus command jumped up. So that's cool. That seemed to work. So it really did. So there we go. Interestingly, WorldWake, you mentioned spending a lot of time in the debugger. I like spending time in the debugger when the code is run by a test. I actually think it's quite nice to end up in that debugger, because it's such a limited case. We're not really connecting to all that many different things, so it's actually kind of nice to be able to do that. So, all right, so the code is running there. So we think that's working. It seems to work nicely. I am going to go ahead and get us another pull request on this. So let's go ahead and pull this one in here. So this is top command operation. We're going to create a pull request for this. Command to show top commands. Now what we're going to do is this will fix, and then we're going to say number top. Command used. Commands list ordered by usage data? No. Did we not have one? We may not have had one, so I'm just going to go ahead and create this. We might have not have had one specifically for this. I think the goal was to make it so the commands command listed in the order of your usage, which we don't quite do yet. But this just proves that we have the data and this can work. So this is kind of like a proof of concept of our data. So I will leave that one for now and not actually commit it. However, I do want to let you all know, so you probably noticed that all our code's on GitHub. So I do recommend everybody that's in here that is at all interested in working on this project, go check out our GitHub and think about adding an issue or maybe pick one up. The cool thing you can do here to pick up an issue is you can go and you can go good first issue. So if you are new to this kind of thing and you do want to, take a look at something that you might be able to work on, we try to keep these so that there are a handful of issues that someone could work on that's new to the project. So you can go ahead and check that out there. And I do also want to mention to anybody that's in here in chat that if you want to talk to any of us outside of the stream, you want to talk code with us, plenty of us talk about different things that we're doing, different coding projects we're working on, as well as this project itself as we're contributing to it. But you can check out our Discord. I recommend everybody join it. Discord is actually a chat program that's commonly used by gamers, but we also use it here, and it's really nice for the types of discussion that we like to have, which, you know, coding, and so it's good for that. We have a number of different chat rooms, so you can mute the ones that you don't care about, and the other ones you can be in there chatting about them, and it's a good thing for that. The other thing I want to mention, if you want to take a look at any of the videos that we have in the past, there's a videos section in Twitch. You can look at the videos section to see any of those that are any of our past recordings if you want to see how we got to where we are now. Additionally, you can check out our YouTube channel, which has all of our old stuff. So Twitch only keeps our videos for a little while, but if you want to see anything older, you can go to YouTube and find our videos there. And I'm going to guess Fetty on that one, but if I pronounce that wrong, let me know, and I will say it better next time. But welcome, thank you for following DevChatter. Hopefully you're enjoying the stream. And if anybody is in here that hasn't clicked the follow button yet, go ahead and click the follow button, and you will get notified when we go live next. And then, by the way, is there MEF for .NET Core? Okay, I didn't know that, Joe Bun, so thank you for chiming in on that one. I don't use it, so I have not tried it, but I'm not terribly surprised. Okay, so a little bit of a heads up for everybody. So I mentioned that all of our stuff is out on GitHub, and I posted a link in there, but I do also want to let you know that I do try to keep this somewhat updated. This is our schedule. For anybody that doesn't know, DevChatter, actually, we stream 4 times a week, so you can get plenty of DevChatter here. Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. These are the times in Eastern Daylight Time, and if you want to know what those are, that you can use our schedule command, and I do schedule command with an offset of -4, which gets me Eastern Daylight Time in the US. But if you... Oh, congratulations! Good thing you switched to whatever one I did, Kim Tranjan, which I apologize for butchering your name, but if you tell me how to say it, I'll get it right next time. And I could just say Kim, probably, and that's probably good enough. So you can use our schedule command to find out what it is in your time zone, or if you are on the stream, you can actually just scroll down. So if you go to DevChatter stream, and you look down at the panels below, you'll see there's this nice panel, and this will show it to you in your time zone. So if you are on Twitch, you can go check that out, and that is a way to see what time we next stream. So as I said, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Okay, so I'll just go with Kim, and that'll work out well. So here's the thing that's going on this week. On Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we're going to have James Chambers on. He was not able to do the Thursday stream this last Thursday, so we moved him to Monday. He and I are going to write some code together, so he's going to be way up there in that corner up in the top there. And he and I are going to write code together, so that's going to be fun. And then on Thursday, we're going to have Eric Fleming join us as well. So that'll be another person showing up, and we're going to do a couple of pair programming streams this week. We're planning on using VS Live Share. So what that means is this is going to be like Google Docs style editing. So like there's going to be a cursor in there that is James's cursor and Eric's cursor right in here in Visual Studio. So if you guys haven't seen VS Live Share, it's really awesome. It's great for collaboration. So if you're a remote dev, you really want to see how this works, because this will actually let you collaborate, do code reviews, just get someone to jump in and assist you with something, to pair program, whatever it is you want to do. The VS Live Share is pretty awesome. It's still in an early preview, and as a non-Microsoft employee, I'm limited to the version that I've got, but I'm sure they've got newer builds, so like there are a couple of bugs here and there, but like the essence of how this tool works is really awesome. Hello, welcome, Kangler Kagler? I apologize for butchering your name. I gave it a shot. VS Live Share is short for not IntelliSense for you. Yes, Joe Bun is correct. So one of the issues right now in that is that IntelliSense gets a little bit wonky right now when you're in VS Live Share. That's really one of the main problems. I think it's going to be an easy fix for them, but we'll see. And yeah, I'm glad Async Awake knew that quote number 3 was the "I swear it's not rigged" one. And how did you color your files? Oh, that is a great question. I can show you how I color these tags. So my file names up here, they're actually based on which project is open. So you'll notice this one has this color that came from the unit test project. If I open one out of the Twitch project, it will have a different color as well. So see how that's a different color, but other ones from that will share that color. And if I open up the EF project, this will probably be, yeah, that's a reddish color there for that one. And then this project has this color. So you'll see each project is color-coded. And the way that I've got that set up is, it is a tool that is part of an extension that I'm running in Visual Studio. So this is a free extension that everybody can use. It is part of the Power Tools. So the Productivity Power Tools in Visual Studio is a collection of useful other extensions. So if you install this extension has dependencies on other extensions, so it automatically pulls those ones in. So I install this one and it gets me a bunch of other really nice stuff. The one that you specifically asked about is called the Custom Document Well. Now, it's a strange name, but those tabs are called a document well, and I will show you how we configure them. So if I scroll down here, when I'm inside of the options, there is a section for the Productivity Power Tools, and you'll see the Custom Document Well section. So you'll see that I can move where those tabs are, so I could shift them to the left if I wanted, but I'm actually going to keep them on top. And then they have other things like color coding, so I can decide what the colors are for those tabs, and I can decide how big I want them to be and other things like that. And I can, you know, see color tabs by project is an option I've got on there. So there's a lot of options you can do with that. So I like it. I think it's nice. And let's see, Jobun. Those colored tabs can make it hard to determine which is the active one. You turned it off after a while. Yeah, so here's what Jobun is talking about. If we look at another one of these, so if we open up a couple of these, you'll see that the only thing that's actually telling you which tab is active is that it's slightly different color and it's bold text. So it's not all that distinguished. So I agree, if we could make that a more distinct tab, that would be really, really nice. Automatically select tab colors, selected tab. I guess you might be able to do that. There might be a way to, if they gave us a way to make the selected tab more obvious some way, that would be a good one, Jobun. So yeah, I can understand why you might turn that off. So, okay, well, anyway, so the thing I was in the process of wrapping up here, so that's why I was mentioning all the stuff, like we're on GitHub. So anybody that wants to check out our code, it's all out on GitHub. Join our Discord if you want to chat with us. I put the links to both of those in there. And anyway, I wanted to thank everybody who showed up today, who viewed, who chatted. You are all awesome people. And DevChatter wouldn't exist without you. This is actually a significant stream for us because this actually represents 3 months that we've been streaming here at DevChatter. So we've built a pretty awesome community, a lot of people that are here and showing up and talking to us every single day. So if you do want to keep talking with any of the other DevChatter people, check out our Discord. We talk about code in there, different things that people are working on. So it is actually really fun. And I hope that I see everyone back. Let's see, today's Saturday, so on Monday, that's 2 days from now, and I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your weekend. So good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever it is in your time zone. Hopefully you enjoyed DevChatter today. Kim, thank you very much. That is a wonderful compliment. I appreciate it. So thank you. I'm glad you liked the stream. And I will say, woohoo! So, yeah, DevChahype. And if anybody is interested in getting the DevChahype emote, which is the thing that Async Awake just posted in there, subscribers to DevChatter actually have access to, well, actually, subscribers to any Twitch channel have access to that Twitch channel's emotes. So if you want to use our little DevChatter hype guy, he's a little dinosaur. He holds up his hype sign because his arms are too short to hold it over his head, so he's got these two little grabbers that are holding the sign above his head. He's kind of cute. I like him, but anyway, I should get going. The stream has been up for almost 3 hours, and I've got stuff I have to do this weekend, so it's family time. I have a small child that I need to go hang out with because he's awesome too. And I love all you guys, and have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday, where we will continue programming. So, bye everybody. Have a great one.